Hey, Scott,
Yeah,
Shui outfit.
thanks. Not talking about Frank in this episode.
Is this the first time we actually hear Shui, right?
Yeah, this is the first time Shui shows up in the show.
Yeah,
It's a historic moment.
it really is. I know. I was like, okay, it's got to be soon, right? And then finally, we finally,
I've honestly been like watching the episodes, like waiting, like when do we hear Shui?
yeah,
It's just like
yeah. Too bad it's said by a douchebag, but hey, what can you say? You know,
yeah.
it's okay. But here we are, guys. We are back in Neo Gotham. We visited modern day Metropolis last week, and we had a Green Lantern show, which great episode, and
I always
some
love the
great.
episodes when you finally make a little YouTube reel. It's like, oh
I,
yay!
dude,
I miss our show
I
producing
know.
like regular reels. I'm gonna be
Dude,
honest.
that's on me because sometimes I just don't get around to it because I'm trying to get other stuff. But when you were talking about why Green Lantern, why Kyle Rayner was, I was like, "Oh, okay, I can't pass this up." So I
He
immediately was
got
like,
some
I
good
wrote it down.
response on it too.
Got a
Like,
great response, dude. Dude, that clip is doing very well on all platforms. So that's why I was like, I knew it was a winning clip because I was like, oh yeah, that's really cool. And then there's a lot of Green Lantern talk with
yeah.
lanterns and stuff. So I thought, yeah,
Don't
I
you just
gotta put it up.
love, and this is not me, blowing smoke at my own ass, but don't you just love how
I'll
the
do
really
it.
great clips are like me just explaining shit?
That's what I love. And that's why when you were, because I had, really no idea about that. So I was like going, okay, yeah, I have to put a clip like that out there because it's about Green Lantern and the fact that when he got introduced in there, it was Kyle Rayner and the reason and everything. I was like, oh no, I can't. There was no way I was going to pass up posting
There's
a
only
clip on.
one thing that bugs me, and it happens on some of your reels too,
Mm.
is just the interesting spellings that
Oh
the
yeah, sometimes
subtitles do.
sometimes I catch them and sometimes I don't, and I sometimes will see it after. I think because you said the core and it spelled it out as core with an
Yeah,
E.
it also did Hal Jordan instead of
Yeah,
Al
I didn't.
Jordan.
I thought I caught all those, but sometimes it moves so quickly.
It does move quickly.
Yeah,
That's the thing. But yeah, I saw the core, and that's just me going, well, at least I said it correctly.
yes, yeah. No, sometimes yeah, and it's so funny too because even when I see clips on YouTube or TikTok or something like that that are getting millions of views and they have professionals doing it, even they miss that. I mean,
Oh
the
no,
AI,
no, they
yeah,
really do. They really do.
yeah.
That's why just, even as a former English teacher, it's like editing matters.
Oh yeah. Oh no, you and it should sometimes, but I'm editing as I'm working and sometimes
Yes,
I
exactly.
don't catch
Yes.
it. But most of the time I'm like trying to pay attention and making sure, but then sometimes just things just slip, especially if it's moving fast because I'm trying to like edit it where, there's
Well, you
no
want the words showing up as we're talking, and let's be honest,
exact.
when the two of us are going, we're like,
Oh yeah. It's hard to like go, hey, it's trying to decipher what are you guys saying? And it's like, yeah, but but still a very good clip. And hopefully you guys check that out. Some good knowledge right there. And maybe we'll get some good knowledge here too. Maybe. I don't know. We'll
oh,
see.
oh, oh, oh no! I'm bringing some very esoteric knowledge to this
Thank you.
episode.
Of course. That's what happens. And thank you, Eric, for joining. Grand tradition of Batman villains you feel for. Still trying to figure out who he parallels, though. Is he specific revenge motive like Victor Freeze, but the power sets more like Mad Hatter?
Okay, okay. So Eric, I think this is one of those situations where we don't have a Batman Beyond villain that's meant to mimic a traditional Batman villain. I think this is one of those Batman Beyond episodes that when we talk about the fact that when the Batman Beyond show was created to be for the younger audience, I'm going to use air quotes because as we discussed, the show gets a lot darker than even Batman the Animated Series got sometimes. I think this is one of those teenage metaphor kind of episodes. It was like because of it being Whedon, it's not popular to talk about right now. But if you go back to like Buffy the Vampire Slayer in its heyday, the really sort of interesting monsters in those early seasons were monsters that were metaphors for teenage problems.
Yeah.
And I feel and Batman Beyond does that. They do the teenage problems elevated to sort of the cyberpunk um Batman villainy level. And I feel like for Willie, because my God, did he get a Marvel name? Willie Watt. Did Stan Lee name this
I
guy?
know. That's what I was just thinking. I was like, man, did Stan Lee name him? Because he likes to have the letter. Yeah,
Alliterative names,
alliterative.
yes.
Yes, yes.
But it's going to go into my esoteric information we'll get into later is like why the robot is called what it's called, which is why the episode is called what it's called. But it also, Dave and I were actually talking before we went live about who Willie's design reminded us of. And for me, I said it reminded me of Crispin Glover, the guy who plays the dad in Back to the Future. And if you know Crispin Glover, he did a horror movie called Willard
Yes,
about,
it did. With the rats, right?
with the rats. And
Yeah.
it's almost as if the robot is like the rats, the creature that allows the nerdy kid, the awkward kid to get his revenge. So
True.
I think there's a lot going on in this episode. The episode is very straightforward, but I feel like if you, as 40-year-old men watching a cartoon, I really feel like it's something that you can like peel back the layers and you can maybe see some of the inspirations for the episode.
You definitely can. And it's got that, it's that cliche nerdy son, and he's got like that hard ass fucking father who's like,
right. It's the weird thing where you've got like the super alpha masculine dad
yeah.
who for one reason or another has ended up with the severely beta son.
Yeah. It's always like that thing. It's like, what happened with those genetics, I should say. But yeah, it's like, but we've seen that before. But you put your little spin on it, and I think they did a pretty good job when it came to this episode. And like you said, I mean, it's showing these problems that maybe teenagers have, but it's taking place in the future where now this one smart kid who has the crush on the popular girl, and he's got the bully after him, and then of course, I mean, it's Christine almost, if you think about it. I mean, like, he's got this machine that it's like, oh, I inherited. I mean, obviously not entirely Christine, but I don't know. I just thought about Christine right now, where he gets that car, and that car is now under his, like, okay, now I can, do shit and seek revenge on people who have wronged me. But obviously, it's the future.
Once again, it's one of those classic archetypes, either in horror or science fiction,
Yeah.
where it's a revenge fantasy. However, in this case, it's the nerd who's having the revenge fantasy is painted as the villain of the episode. Sympathetic in some way, but he does reach that point where you lose sympathy. Like he crosses that line where you go, no, kid, you're the bad guy.
Yeah. I mean, at first you go, okay, I'm with you. But then all of a sudden, and I think they actually do a good job of representing that in the animation. Too.
Yes, they
There's
do.
a shot in here where I thought, oh, this is where he turns into super villain. Right.
Yes. I know the exact shot.
Yep.
Oh, I think I know the exact shot you're talking about. So we'll get to there, though.
We'll get to that point. But yeah, I mean, they establish Willie Watt right in the beginning. Obviously, he's got a crush on a girl named Blade, which is
I'm sorry. This is one of those things that, okay, you know how when you watch a movie or a TV show that's based around something that you know about, you call bullshit on it like really fast.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry. In what world would what Blade is wearing match any kind of school dress code?
Thank you. I'm just kind of going, Jesus Christ, the animators of her, she's supposed to be a high school student. And I'm sitting there going, okay, I get it. There is like, okay. But then, because obviously her boyfriend, which we find out is Nash, he comes
Yes.
back. The
Seth Green comes back as
Seth
his ultimate
Green is coming
douchiness.
back. But it's just so funny because, his whole character model is wearing, of course, the Letterman jacket and everything. So I'm
Yes.
like, okay, so she's wearing a tube top with like a maybe an overshirt, but full on arms exposed, belly exposed, skirt, high boots. It's like, what the hell are we doing here? Like, she is just way too, I don't know. It's too
I
much.
mean, even Dana's skirt
Yeah.
is way too short, but at least the rest of her is conservatively covered. And I only say this because you watch these shows, like there is no school on the planet that would let you like
No.
wear that.
No. There's no way. Even I mean, maybe in future Gotham, I don't know. Maybe they're just like, we don't care. Express yourself. Who knows? Who knows? But at the same time, yeah, I was like thinking the exact when. So when you went on that, you talked about that, I knew exactly
Where I was going
because
with that. Yes.
my 40-year-old brain did the same thing. Where I was going, "Are you kidding me? That's what you guys designed her as." But again,
Would she wear that out? Would she wear that out on like a date night? Absolutely.
yes.
You're just not wearing that at school.
Yeah. It's crazy. But yeah, so yeah, we got William Watt who's trying to, shoot his shot. And he tries to do a good job of being like, "Hey, I can tutor you," because obviously he's smart.
I mean, at least okay, I will give him credit. He knew his lane in
Yes.
that way. It's like now he did know his lane that I'm sorry, you don't have a snowball's chance in hell with a girl like Blade. That's just
No.
not going to happen. But at least your attempt to get her in with her was something that you're like, okay, dude, you're not even in the friend zone. Like you're so out of her orbit. But at least you knew if you were going to have an in, tutoring was your best shot.
Oh yeah.
Because clearly academics is not her strength.
No, it's not her strength. Actually, I mean, it's smart. I mean, we've seen that before too. It's like, but it's intimate where you literally have to be close to each other. You're going to have to be like, and then hopefully you go, yeah, she could see how smart I am. She'll want to see my other brain. Anyways, yeah.
Unfortunately, no.
Yeah,
And of
that's
course,
not.
I do ever like though that Nash shows up being a complete D-bag
Of course.
as we met him in Rebirth Part 1, but still obsessed with his car. Because remember, that was his thing. He was obsessed with his car in Rebirth Part 1, especially when the Jokers showed up and were like driving the motorcycles on top of it. Like that was the thing. So I appreciate sort of the continuity of what his priorities are as a character.
Exactly. No, it worked. And then, so we see that, obviously he's still a douche. And then, of course, Terry comes in when, like, because Terry has an issue with, and we already know it's already established. So Terry kind of backs up William a little bit. They don't become chummy best friends like that whole thing, but
it's Terry being a good person.
yes, exactly.
He's got that Batman mentality, that Batman morality of standing up for, the little guy. Yeah. And I appreciate that because it's just so ostentatious of Nash that Willie falls over, rips his shirt on the car, doesn't hurt the car.
No.
But all Nash can think about is that he was going to like scratch the paint job.
Yeah,
On
so
this
he's
thing.
so he's about to just like start wailing on him, but then Terry's like, "Hey, nope,
I
nope."
could kick your ass and you
Yeah.
know it.
Yes, because and Nash knows that too, which is good. But yeah, so and then of course we meet Willie's dad, who again, Frank, who is the that alpha type. He's running, obviously he's running crews when it comes to
He's
construction.
like the foreman, basically.
Yeah, essentially. He's got a headset. They're at a higher location. He's looking down at the job site and making sure everything's operating correctly. And he's yelling at people who are not operating things correctly. And then this is where we get our first
standards. I think that's the thing there.
Yeah.
Did you recognize the voice of Frank?
I did not. It sounded familiar though.
Oh no, dude, you
Okay.
know who this is.
Oh boy, I'm excited.
I know. Okay, he might not recognize the name, but he's but he's that guy. Okay, his name is Bill Smitrovich.
I'm typing it in.
Smitrovich.
SMIT. Go ahead.
ROVICH.
Okay, yes, I know who that. Yeah, this guy looks familiar. Oh yes, he was the wasn't he the dad in Life Goes On?
Life Goes On.
Yes, Corky.
Yes. Okay, I was
he was also in Independence Day.
Hard-ass military guy. Like he's the joint. He's the guy who like runs Area 51. Yes. Most recently, he was the judge in Joker Folie à Deux.
That's right. He was in there. That's right. You see his face. You've seen him in a ton of things.
Everything. He's been in everything. But I'm so glad because when I read his Wikipedia page, it did not mention Life Goes On. And in my head, that's immediately where I go. He was the dad in Life Goes On for 4 seasons.
Dude, I mean, that was when I was living where you live in that state, we used to watch that all the time.
Life Goes On. It was a great show. He was married to Patti LuPone. And, that 1989 to like 1993, he will always be the dad, but it's also funny. Like you say, he plays a general in Independence Day. He's chomping the cigar. No, he wasn't Area 51. He was like Will Smith's commanding officer.
Yeah. It was at El Toro. Yeah. El Toro base. Yeah. He wasn't. Yeah. It was one of the someone Baldwin. William. I don't know. Not
Adam Baldwin.
Adam Baldwin. Yeah.
It was Adam Baldwin. Yeah.
He was the guy that was like the main dude at Area 51. But at El Toro base, he was that guy. But if you type him in, you totally recognize him. And I'm so glad that you knew Life Goes On too, because that was one of those appointment viewings for the family.
It was Sunday nights on ABC.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we used to watch it. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, and Corky. It was all about Corky. Yeah, I wonder. And man, I remember one specific episode. We're not going to go on tangent though.
No, there's a couple of episodes that I remember very clearly from that show. Mm-hmm. So, but when I heard his voice, I was like, I didn't know he's one of those that I didn't know his name. Yeah. But as soon as he started talking, I was like,
he sounded familiar to me, and I was like, oh. But I was like, I won't look because I love it when you drop that. Was anybody else?
No, Willie is Scott McAfee, who's just an ongoing vocal character. Because I looked up his filmography. It's the second voice of Littlefoot in the Land Before Time franchise. Did an episode of Lois and Clark. Was one of the kids in House and Garden in the Poison Ivy episode.
Yeah. Okay. So he was one of the kids. Okay. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So he's already been part of this universe.
Yes. And he was also a voice in Animaniacs, Freakazoid. So did a lot of Warner Brothers animation.
Nice.
But really all of his just voice actor.
Okay.
Just voice actor. Was also a kid in Toy Story. So
there you go. So he just, again, I mean, I respect these people that have like this quiet voice acting career, it's like, they're making great money and they're just like going in and just doing all that. I mean, I respect the hell out of that. Man, if I could go back and be like, voice acting, you too, you would do good.
Everyone talks to me about
that. I know, I'm just saying, you have that voice.
I do have a voice. The one thing I wish I had gotten into was audiobook narration. Every time we talk to Ray
Porter for that. You would have been perfect for that, man.
Oh man.
Never too late. Maybe look into it. I'm just saying.
I get it.
Yeah. Anyway, so then of course he's yelling at, and then we get our first look at the Golem. And is that how they say it? Golem?
It's one of words that, it technically, probably Golem, because it's I guess this is where I can get into some esotericness about it, but it's from Hebrew. It's a
Oh, okay.
Hebrew it's a Hebrew word. It's actually, if you want the translation, because it appears in the Bible in Psalm 139, verse 16, it's the word for it translates as in like light form or raw material. It's used to talk about what the unfinished human being looks like from God's perspective.
Ooh, that's pretty interesting.
Because if you go into Jewish folklore, no, originally, if you go into the Bible and you talk about the creation of Adam in Genesis, the idea is that God used the clay, the mud, the dirt to create man. Well, then in Jewish folklore, there's the idea of the golem, which would be any creature that is usually mud or clay that is created, and then life is breathed into them in various ways, depending on it, the folklore, the tradition. Oftentimes, it's usually like a Hebrew word that is like a piece of paper that's fed into the clay creation or written on its forehead, and that's what brings the golem to life. And the most famous one is the Golem of Prague, and it's a narrative about a rabbi in the late 16th century that supposedly created a golem to protect the Jewish community from in the Prague ghetto from anti-Semitic attacks and pogroms that were going on due to Rudolph II, who was the Holy Roman Emperor. So there's this whole famous story about the golem being brought to life to protect the Jewish community that it serves. And usually it's a rabbi who's able to basically speak an incantation and bring this lifeless creature to life. So the idea of the golem in this episode being this giant robot that is brought to life by whoever wears the little, halo, and it's a giant creature that protects someone who is small and weak and an outsider in the community, kind of ties into the golem tradition of the folklore.
Interesting. Wow. And then I'm just like looking at Willie. I mean, he does have quite a schnoz on him, so maybe he is Jewish. All right.
I don't, but the point is that this is actually something. There's a great episode of Gargoyles from 1995 that
Okay.
also, when they were doing in the second season, when they were doing the world tour. If you watch that show, there was the part where Goliath and others had to try to get back to New York, and they were going to various parts of the world, and it was a way for the show to explore mythology and folklore around the world. And there was an episode where they go to Prague and they meet one of the descendants of this rabbi uh, from the actual story. So it's really interesting. And there's also The Adventures of Cavalier and Clay, which was a Pulitzer Prize winning novel that's kind of loosely based on like what was going on with all those young Jewish comic book creators in the 30s and the 40s. Very much you can tell is like a Siegel and Schuster kind of inspired tale, but there's a whole golem story going on in that novel as well. So there's a lot of different avenues that you can explore this story. So I'm just going to throw that out there.
No, yeah. I did not think there was going to be that much of a backstory. I figured that the name meant something, but I didn't know it
Oh
was
yeah, there's a
all.
long, like I said, it dates back hundreds of years, but it is part of Jewish folklore. Just kind of a fairy tale, as it were, about a lifeless automaton that is a protector for a community.
Interesting. Okay. That's cool. See, there's a lot of layers when it comes to these. This is why we do this, folks. This is why we do this. But yes, of course, Willie's dad is just like trying to grill him to be like, you got to be tough. You got to be tough. He's the complete opposite. And then, of course, he says something that sticks with Willie that says, "Hit him where it hurts. You'll figure it out." So it's like, so Willie's going, okay, got to hit him where it hurts. But, that's just leading up to where it actually does, which, where he does hit his bully where it hurts. We've already kind of established where they've already put that.
Yeah, exactly. They've made that very clear, but it's the idea that Willie is clearly watching what the golem can do.
Yeah.
And he's got access to it
Yeah.
because it's his dad's construction site.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
And
also
he knows
very,
how it works.
yeah. I mean, his dad is giving him advice that I don't judge too harshly, because even my own dad gave me that advice. It's the idea that, if a bully takes a swing at you, you make him remember it. Like,
Yes.
I mean, that was something. I mean, I was a nerdy kid. I got the crap. Of course, the only person who could beat up on me was a kid who was old enough to be a junior in high school, but had failed so many times he was still in the 8th grade. Literally the only kid who beat up on me was that one.
Yeah.
But that was the thing, is that, like, I get where the dad is coming from that perspective.
And so do I.
But he's doing it in a way that is extremely demeaning to Willie. Like,
he doesn't need to be doing it like he's a drill sergeant.
Yes. You're not the drill sergeant from Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the thing, is that he's condescending and demeaning Willie at the same time trying to tell him to stand up for himself. And it's like, kind of sending two mixed messages here.
Yeah. It's like, be tough, but then all of a sudden he's like screaming at him, like, it's like, come on, dude. But at least it actually does kind of stick with them. And then it's kind of cool because we get like another look at future sporting, kind of like a basketball game where,
but that is such a cool concept.
Yeah, with like light up rings.
Well, not only the light the rings, but the court, the lines in the court line up as well. Like, instead of having the overhead lights lighting the court itself is a lighting source.
That should be something that should be in real life. That just sounds like something cool. Like, I mean, we've all heard of cosmic bowling. Cosmic bowling is like,
I've been cosmic bowling. I mean,
oh yeah, cosmic bowling is so much fun, and I don't even know if it's still around. I'm pretty sure it is. But I mean, that's what was so cool about it. It's like, yeah, you turn off the lights, everything's neon, things are lit up underneath you, and the balls are lit up, the pins are lit up, there's things on the lane that are lit up. I mean, yeah, there needs to be more of that. I mean, I think they did something like that with basketball at one point. I remember something was,
but it's a great idea for for this idea of this cyberpunk urban center. Like, if you want to have a nighttime basketball game, wouldn't it make sense that the court itself would like
lit up,
light up? I mean, I thought it was a cool idea. So,
it's a really cool idea. And then, of course, we get a new feature in Terry's batsuit.
I love this feature. And once again, it was another one of those that was like, when does this feature get introduced?
Yeah.
Because it's been like, okay, so we've got the wings, we've got the jet boots, we've got the listening devices, in the fingers, and we got the Batmobile introduced in the last episode. So this was the episode where we get camouflage mode. And it's
totally stealth. Yeah.
Total stealth. And I love it because in a world like Neo Gotham, it's not like you've got a lot of shadows for you to hide in. So I love the idea that we have this technology where you just blend in with whatever background you're up against. It's a great feature of the suit.
It is. And then, of course, Terry is loving that, talking to Bruce. He's loving the stealth. But, as he's like chilling on the wall of this, when you see this basketball game, street basketball, and then, of course, when he has to jump into action, he does. And, and then, of course, the golem gets taken. Uh-oh.
Well, it gets taken, and then it shows up while... Okay. Well, let's talk about the Nash comment that was, let's go for a ride.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
I probably did not understand that reference when I first saw this episode.
But you understood it now.
I understood it now.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Golem shows up, Willie's
Yeah.
controlling it, and he I think when he starts off, it's okay. He doesn't try to hurt Nash. He
No.
just wants to jack up his car,
Yes, because again, hit him where it hurts.
hit him where it hurts. But then the problem is when Batman shows up, this is when Willie is already starting to lose some sympathy because you don't have to go so hard after Batman. Like,
Yes.
you're just there to jack up Nash's ride. Why are you then destroying this mall, essentially, trying to attack Batman? That's where Willie already starts to go off the deep end for me.
He does, yeah, because Batman shows up, and of course, Nash, being the douchebag he is, he doesn't care about his girlfriend. He doesn't care about Blade. He just runs. We already established that he doesn't really actually care about her, but yeah. So when Batman comes in and he's like throwing little bombs or whatever at it, it's like, okay, that's when you go, hey, wait a minute, this is supposed to be a good guy. Willie, pull it back a little bit, but he's already lost sight of.
Yes, he has.
Yeah.
I think interestingly enough, it's more that his temper, which
Yes.
probably comes from his dad,
What?
I know, right? Kicks in because he already trashed the car.
Yeah.
So it's like, what
What
else
else?
were you going to do?
Yeah.
Like, Batman's not going to stop. Batman didn't stop you from doing the one thing you actually were setting out to do, which was wreck Nash's ride. So I wish. I don't know. It's 22 minutes, and we've got to push Willie even further in this episode to get to
Yeah.
that
Well,
super villainy thing.
yes, they got to get to the super villainy part because then he's going to be going after Batman. And, there's like a wall that Batman's, kind of on. And then he's like, all right, well, I'm going to get you. And, obviously the Golem has like these robotic-y, clawy hands. So when he tries to get him, he ends up stabbing some power cables, gets electrocuted. It sends a signal through the halo that he's wearing, and it zaps him. And then it's like, oh, well, there you go. There's the villain part. Up, he just got some kind of superpower, didn't he?
Yeah, once again, very much more of a Marvel way of becoming a
Yeah.
supervillain.
Yeah.
The accident, but that the electrical feedback is now taken whatever neural connection is in the halo, and now the neural connection is like inside of Willie's brain. It kind of reminded me of what we talked about with the police suit in that Superman episode where Superman ends up like ripping the wire off and like shoving it into the suit, and then the suit like reacts. But then I criticized the episode because like we never saw any follow-up to that.
Yeah, because like we see like him like operating it without. Yeah. What was that? Fuck, I totally forgot what that episode was called. But but when you were talking about that right now, I was like, oh yeah, it was that episode. Yeah, I can't remember what it was called either, but
yeah, I think it was season 2. I believe it was season 2, but so they took the same concept here, but then this is what allows Willie to have a almost an intimate connection with the Golem, because now the robot can respond to him without the halo. But Willie can also sense its presence because they are now connected on a
prototype.
Prototype. Okay.
Yeah. All right. I was like, I had to look it up because I was like, it was one word, prototype. That's the episode that we're referring. Yeah, I thought about that too. Where it's just because what's his name? I forgot his name. Corey Mills.
Corey Mills. Okay.
Yes. Who was doing the prototype suit, and then of course there was like a little electrical, and then we made us think about the fact that at the end he's still connected to the suit. And then it doesn't pay off because we never see that.
We never see it again. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, but yeah. So it's like similar. Yeah. It's definitely similar to that.
Yeah.
And And yeah, so I mean, that's where the whole like origin, the villain origin story, really. I mean, obviously, it's already being established, but that's where the powers come in.
Right.
So
Yes.
yeah,
Because then, then the news stories about the golem being, confiscated.
complicated. Yeah,
There's the news story. Frank is pissed off because now he can't get any of his work done
yeah. And then
without the golem.
we get our only appearance of Bruce because then he's asking Terry's like who would actually be going after Nash, and then of course I love what Terry says. There'll be a line around the
Starts with
jail,
me.
starts with me and goes around twice. Yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
So I mean, establishing that Nash is just such a douchebag. So, but yeah, so Bruce does his thing. There's minimal Bruce in this episode, which is fine because this is very heavily on
It's the teenage aspect.
the
So,
teenage aspect. So he's in there. He's in this episode just enough for
right.
sure.
But because we got to
Okay.
remember, this is still Terry's show. Like,
Yeah.
you don't need to have a lot of Bruce in an episode
No, not
like
like this.
this. And
Especially
they,
when you got Blade like acting like she does that whole thing, that kind of cliche thing we see where because Nash is being such a douche, and the fact that he just ran away and he was like, "What? I was running. I thought you were behind me." And she was like, "Yeah, I was about by 100 feet," kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, he did that whole thing, and then she to seek revenge on him emotionally. She's like, "Well, I'm just gonna ask Willie to the dance to
which
piss you off."
right, and that kind of shit always pisses me off.
Yeah,
When
because they
it
never stick with him. Ah, they always go like, "Hey, I'm gonna show up with you," but then after I'm gonna ditch you.
right, because I just need to prove a point
Yep,
to the person that I'm
I'm
trying to make.
using you.
I'm using you, and that's something that as someone who was a nerd, what am I kidding? Was oh, that's
And
cute.
we still are, Scott.
We still are so much,
Yes.
but that kind of emotional manipulation and blackmail it's just something that's
Oh,
always pissed
terrible.
me off. I've always find characters like that to be deplorable, which is really funny that when I see movies or TV shows that try to glorify or romanticize these kind of characters, I call bullshit on so hard because I'm just like, there's a lot of John Green novels
Mm,
that which was a young adult novelist. I love The Fault in Our Stars, but something like Looking for Alaska or Paper Towns, where like the little geeky boy has like the crush on the unattainable, popular girl, and then something happens and you're supposed to feel so bad for the popular girl and or feel bad for the poor schmuck who's in love with her. And it's like, no, you brought this on yourself. Stop it.
yeah.
You just knock it off.
Exactly. Oh, but yeah. So yeah, he gets asked out to go to the dance, and it's all for payback and everything. And but then of course this is where Willie starts realizing like, wait a minute, I got some like electricity like forming like around myself. Like, what the heck? Okay, cool. So we start seeing that. And then when that happens, we actually see where the golem is. And they have it kind of locked up in like a warehouse, but then it starts moving and it just escapes where it's at. And obviously we know where it's going to head. It's going to head towards where Willie's at. And yeah, so we got that whole aspect, and then we get to that point where Willie's in the sewer, kind of like a sewer. I guess it looks like it's like a sewer
It
area. I
looks
guess.
like a sewer, yeah, kind of a sewer like area or drainage area.
Yeah,
But
and then he invites the Joker gang. Well, first he says like, "I feel you. You're close," and so they establish the fact that yeah, he has that neural like connection to his brain with the golem. But then of course he invites that Joker gang to be like, "Hey, well, check this out, guys." And then
I
he
I
wants to,
like I,
yeah,
I liked it was funny. It was like what's 2 stories tall on each Joker's for breakfast?
yeah,
That you're not laughing. You
no, he's scared, yeah, and totally just like, yeah, scares them away. So we get to see the Joker gang again, and then of course, Willie's happy because he's got this connection to this big, huge robot, and then
Well, he
we,
finally gets to be a big man. Like he
yeah,
has
there's that symbolic, yeah, where he's finally that. He's finally that.
He's finally the bully. He's become the bully,
And I
essentially.
think the ultimate thing that he wanted to just like get his, pardon the pun, get the willies off. It's just like the fact that is the fact that he wanted to be like, well, let me lure the Joker gang. They're very notorious in the city. Let me get them down here and show them. And that just gives him that confidence of like, yeah. But then when we get to the dance, it's just that cliche thing where it's a dance. It's outside. It's at like it almost looks like
It's at the pier. Because
pier.
they talk about the dance at the pier.
Yeah.
And it's almost, there's almost like a Carrie vibe to this.
A little bit. Because he, of course, is dressed up in a ridiculous tux that looks so stupid. She looks, just a nice little dress, hot. And of course, you have Terry and what's his girlfriend's name?
Dana.
Dana. They show up and they just look the same. He's just wearing his fucking, his little V-neck shirt or his Henry.
The only thing he's not wearing is the brown like bomber jacket.
Yeah, he's not wearing it, but he's. That's why I always like go, what the hell with these character designs? Because it's like we're outside, and then you got people that are wearing jackets and not. I'm like, is it cold? Is it not? You got girls that are wearing barely nothing. You got Nash, who's always wearing this stupid bomber jacket. That's got to be warm. If Blade is wearing barely nothing, I mean, what are we doing here? Like
remember, you get one character design. So
exactly, and that's what
Bruce
I
wore the
remind
same
myself.
suit.
I can't nitpick. I can't nitpick
right.
that whole stuff where I'm going, what's the weather like? I'm saying that's my 40-year-old ass is watching this going, what's the weather like? Where he's wearing a bomber jacket and she's barely wearing a napkin. It's like I'm like, wait, usually women are colder than guys, and and I start doing that whole thing, and I know I need to stop because it's a cartoon, Dave. It's a cartoon, and then we got the models and everything. But yeah, of course, right off the bat, we already know she's just gonna ditch them. She sees her friends and all this kind of stuff. And
right, that part's not working out because she's incredibly embarrassed with her friends.
Yeah.
She just needs Nash to have the reaction,
and he does.
And he does. She basically tells him that, okay, now that I've had my fun. He then takes Willie out to the back and throws him off the pier.
Yeah.
Which then, of course,
Carrie.
Yeah, right. That's kind of the Carrie moment. And then, instead of then his psychic attack happens because his anxiety, his anger, calls the Golem to him.
Yep.
And then that's when all hell breaks loose because then he just
the Golem just starts like tearing through. He doesn't even it doesn't even care like what it's breaking through. It's
he is full blown supervillain at this point because I mean he gets it's the eye moment, like when the eye gets like that circuitry look going on, and he starts getting the green glow around.
Whoa.
What'd you do?
Whoa! This finally fell down. Whoa, that was cool. Live, it fell down because I have it with these sticky things.
Oh yeah.
And it didn't. Yeah, the sticky things finally just like gave out. That was funny. I was wondering if that was going to happen. Here, I'll put it back up for now, but I'm going to have to put nails in. Sadly. All right. See, there you go. There's a ghost here. I swear to God. Maybe. I don't know. I found a Bible in the garage. I don't know if you saw that picture.
No, I didn't. No.
Oh, dude, there's a Bible that is just chilling up in the little rafters of the garage, just chilling right there. I was going, I told my brother, I was like, what the hell is that? I don't think we should touch that.
No.
Might be, I don't know. That was weird. Oof. Yeah. There's your clip right there. No, but yeah. So yeah, going back to the story. Yeah. So he's just, all that's happening. You're seeing, and then of course, obviously, he gets Terry gets a phone call from Bruce, and he's like, "Hey, the Golem's headed your way. Hope you brought your suit." And of course, he did.
Yeah, I'll let you know where it is.
Yeah, might be in a locker or I don't know something.
Probably on his bike or whatever he and Dana came to the party in.
Yeah, exactly. So, but so so obviously Willie's like summon that, and then of course so this is where we're just going to be basically just kind of
Oh yeah, because at this point it just becomes fight.
just nonstop action. It's just like okay,
Yes.
so Willie's just like, all right, time to have some freaking fun. I don't care how ridiculous my suit looks, because I mean, just look at how ridiculous that freaking suit looks. That's
Jeez,
quite a color right there.
That is a color.
That is a choice. That is a choice. Ah.
Because it's interesting here is that Batman is actually at this point he's already attacking his dad.
Yeah, his dad showed up.
His dad showed up because he saw that the Golem was moving, so he went to go track the Golem.
Yep. And he can't swim.
Which I think is a very interesting. Yeah, here is just like, oh yeah. Okay, that's a little ridiculous, but still kind of cool. I mean, oh, by the way, there's a flamethrower on the thing. Of course there is. I think it's an interesting character choice to make Frank not able to swim. It just seems like such a simple thing that this big, meaty guy. And by the way, don't those always look like MODOKs to you?
Yes. I was about to say, like, I mean, it was kind of like very obvious Easter eggs right there, right?
Which is funny because that's Marvel, but like,
yeah, it kind of looked like that, but it was like, what the hell?
That's MODOK.
Maybe they wanted to just represent some Kirby. Did Kirby design that shit?
What, MODOK?
No.
Hold on. You hold on. Let me.
Because it seems very Kirby-esque, right? I don't know.
Let's see. Yes. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby did create MODOK. Yes.
Okay, so there you go. Yeah. So I was like, immediately when I saw that, I was like, oh, that was a little bit of Kirby Easter eggs. And I was like, that looked like MODOK. But I was like I even thought the same thing with you. I was like, that's Marvel. Is there a character in DC that looks like that? And I was like, I don't remember anything like that in DC.
As close as it get, I mean, but not like that. That is so MODOK. That is such a MODOK looking thing.
Yeah, I just love the freaking score.
Oh, the score is so great. And the action always looks so good in this show.
Yeah.
And they are tearing this pier to shreds.
Oh, yeah. It's all getting messed up. No!
Oh. Kind of reminds me of the collector in Beware the Grey Ghost. My toys, my beautiful toys.
That's true.
Better go talk to him. I have a feeling you won't be seeing him for a while.
Yeah, sure caused a lot of trouble. Guess that means he ain't no wuss anymore.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, fuck off. Dude.
Yeah. There was a shot too, like, there was when Terry had to, get Nash out of the way, and then he just threw him into the water. That was so great because he was like, he just didn't care. He was like, fuck off.
Oh yes, I love that.
I'm gonna save you. I'm gonna save you, but fuck off. And he just
oh yeah, because he's like he's swinging on the rope, and he swings him and just goes.
He just like fuck off. So basically, I mean, it's like right here is like when he really starts. But there's like a shot.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess it was mainly at the end. The end where like you really see the villain stuff.
Oh, like, dude, this shot right here.
Yeah.
Now with the weekend weather outlook.
That. What the? Because he starts changing things, and then.
And this shot right here, when it's all like black eyes, that looks so Frank Miller from the Dark Knight Returns.
And then
oh, and that score too, like oh.
Just so good. No, it's good. It's a good. I mean, again, we're 4 episodes into Batman Beyond, and it's just really good stuff.
That's the thing. Batman Beyond, I'm going to go back to something that I said earlier. It remains pretty freaking consistent through the entire
it really does
series. Like it doesn't have those low. I mean, there's some highs. I mean, there's some episodes that I absolutely love in this series, but it doesn't have like the high highs and the low lows that like Batman the Animated Series, where we go, here's Feet of Clay Part 2, here's Two-Face, and then here's I've got Batman in my basement. You know, you don't have that like wild swing in Batman Beyond. Like the series just stays incredibly consistent episode by episode the entire time. So
gotta love it. But yeah, guys, there's Golem right there, and just another great. I mean, it was funny too because when it first started and I saw Willie and I looked at him, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. I
know, right?
I just remember his design, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember this little fuck. And but yeah, it's just
for me, it was the title. Once I heard the title, I was just like, oh yeah,
that's the title for me. It was just him. It was him. I was like Golem, and then I went, oh yeah, I remember this one. When I saw him, he just stood out in my brain big time. But what do we got next week?
We're still in Neo Gotham, and we got so we're going to episode 5, Meltdown.
Meltdown. Not sure what that entails, but I'm not gonna look. I'm not gonna look
either. I feel like it has to be like I think it's the episode where like Terry encounters Blight for the first time.
Okay.
But I'm not positive, but I feel like it's like because he goes through that period in the show where he doesn't know that Powers is Blight, or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think this is when Blight makes his debut.
Okay, cool. Well, all right, guys, there it is right there. We just talked about Golem, and we're going to be talking about Meltdown next week. So hopefully you guys will be with us. But I think there's people. See, nope, not Blight. So,
not Blight. Okay.
Okay. Don't tell us.
I haven't looked ahead. Like I just know the episode title.
Just assuming. That's all. So thank you, Eric. So he's on top of it. But no, we appreciate it, guys. This has been fun. Like I said, these Batman Beyond episodes. I mean, all episodes are fun to talk about, but Batman Beyond is just like, I don't know, it's a whole new level.
It's special.
Yeah, it's special. It's shway, guys.
It is
shway. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, Scott. Whatever you got to promote. Go ahead.
Nothing.
Not much, right?
Not much. I will say though, as of today, finally caught up on all of Daredevil Born Again. So
you liking it?
Mixed feelings.
Yeah, I got mixed. I'm for the most part, I'm enjoying it, but I just feel, and I've said this numerous times. I've said this after the first 2 episodes, even the last episode. It's like I feel the Marvel Studios fingerprints on it. It doesn't quite have the Netflix.
Yeah.
I feel like there's remnants there, but it's not
that show.
Yes. So I'm just kind of going, okay, I'm enjoying though that they're back, and Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that those two just drive, of course, the show entirely, and their performances are still top notch. So great stuff. But you could just feel like it's just not quite there.
Yeah.
But it's just you're watching on Disney Plus.
Yes, that is true. That is true. So yeah, but nothing else to promote at the moment. Just me here, living life, dealing with shit. It's just the way it goes. But of course, Twitter at ScottDC27 and Vero at Scott McClellan. Like I said last week, if you weren't paying attention, but I've shut down Facebook and Instagram for Lent. So just Twitter and Vero right now. So
there you go. Like it. All right. Well, hit that like, thumbs up, everybody, and like the stream, share it, do all the things, and we'll see you here next week. And we love you, and we will talk to you guys later.